Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing here on this Wednesday morning? It is Wednesday, isn't it? I'm not losing my mind today. No. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. My sincere apologies for the 5-minute delay. My computer, I had to reset my computer, and it was 2 minutes before the show. I had no choice. I was having issues with it, and I decided to delay the live stream so that I can make sure it was all running smoothly. But it seems to be okay now. I definitely need to get a haircut. That's going to be on my priority before the end of this month, that is for sure. But it is the 12th of November 2025 at 11 a.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Excuse me, I'm getting literally, why is it before I live? Why is it during live streams I get reflux, but not before or after it? It's deliberate. It's deliberate from my body. It's deliberate from my body. Apologies, guys. So for those who don't know about this live stream, let me just run down quickly what we do. What we normally do is we do today's daily quota. We look at the weather. See what the weather's reporting, forecasting for the next couple of days, and then we have a look at some of the news that is happening out there. Don't normally cover what UK news on a Wednesday, but we'll cover one website. We'll have a look at the Guardian and see what some of the headlines are saying from there. But most of the news we'll be covering today is from the US and in the world, such as Associated Press, Al Jazeera, NBC News. We'll also have a look at Africa News, Kiev Independence. So that Kiev Independence will be stuff that's happening with regards to the war in Ukraine and around that as well. ABC News. I do have the Guardian up as well. If we get time to have a look a little bit at UK news as well. I'm going to put up Euro News if we get time as well. Let me just quickly say hello to everyone thank you everyone for your patience. Stephen Banker, good to see you there. Ellie, Alison Keir, one of our moderators, good morning. Wales, good to see you there as well. Peter, good morning to you as well. And I think that's everyone. Scott Hayes, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. And I think that's everyone who said hello. For those who are lurking, hope you guys are all doing well as well. Right, let's go straight first and foremost to today's daily quota. And you may have noticed in the descriptions, I've actually put the links in as well. I actually did that as one of my priority jobs last night as well. So there it is there. Link for it's in the description, www.littlepennythoughts.com. Link for it's in the description if you guys want to have get one for yourself there as well. So here is today's daily quota. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. That's a very, very nice quote. I like that one. Tomorrow's one is a very powerful one as well. Tomorrow's one's a very powerful one. I like tomorrow's one as well. There as well. Alistair Kier, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. To get a good start to the day, all hail the DRP, all hail Ollie, yes, all hail the Democratic Penguins Republic for Pingu, of course, Pingu. And Ollie as well there, who's not a happy camper because of everything that's been going on in the news today, but we'll come to the news in a bit, guys. But for those who want to as well, I do post the daily quotas every day on my social media. So if you don't see them here on this live stream, you can always follow me on some of my other social medias. Instagram.com/Reganelite. If you follow me on there, you'll definitely see that, plus more in terms of quotations there as well, just for reference. It's a non-news and politics Instagram page as well. If you guys want to check that out as well. So here is today's weather report from the BBC Weather Map. Link for this is in the description, by the way, if you want to have a look at it yourself. I've put the link in now. And because I've put the links for this and Penny Little Thoughts on the descriptions, so you'll know where if you ever want to look for them yourselves in the future, they'll be there as well, guys. So this is today's weather at the moment, what we're looking at here. So this is what we're expecting in the next hour or so here. If we look at it overall. Let's just have a quick look and see what Europe is saying right now. So Portugal is going to be experiencing some forecast of rain. Lisbon 17, Madrid 18 there. Nice 16, Rome 14. Zagreb a chilly 6, that's very chilly. Bern 7, Budapest 8 there. Vienna 7, Prague 6, Berlin 9. Warsaw chilly 6 there. Kiev really 7 there. Very cold Moscow at 4 right at the back there. Petersburg 5. Oslo is a chilly 10 as well. Paris 13 there. -4 up in Iceland there. We always need to check Iceland just because. And Paris and Brussels 13 respectfully there. And here in the UK, we've got temperatures around 14 degrees, 13 in Cardiff, 11 in Dublin. A bit more chilly up north in 9 degrees in certain parts here. Let's just have a look at some of the temperatures, some of the other places forecast here. Yeah, it looks like most 9-10 degrees in some parts here. Later on today, we can see here some forecast of showers here and there. It's going to be scattered around as well. So probably best just, I wouldn't say you need you take the raincoat maybe, but just, yeah, be chilly in certain parts here. But you can see, yeah, temperature is going to be quite chilly. 9-10 degrees there. Over in Northern Ireland again, 9 and 10 there. But as we move further, if you go further from the south of Scotland to the north of England here, you can see temperatures dramatically increase here, going from 9 and 10 to 13, 14 here. So there's definitely an increase in heat here. Here in the Midlands, look at this, 14, 13 degrees here. Wales, 14, 13. Nothing that you can't really handle. Again, it shouldn't be this high. It should not be these temperatures should not be this high. In my opinion, around this time, it should be a lot more colder, in my opinion. But that's some of the temperatures in parts of England and parts of the UK there. Going overnight into the next day, we can see this rain that's going to be coming in overnight there. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be hitting parts of Scotland and England, kind of in between, really, pretty much. And some of that will hit parts of Wales as well as the north of England and southern Scotland there. Overnight into Thursday morning there, we can see temperatures dropping as Edinburgh. Parts of Scotland are going to be very, very chilly, 7-6 degrees in the parts. So you guys are going to get, for those up north, you guys are going to definitely feel some of the feel it there. But that's that is to be expected. But in other parts of the UK, Manchester, Cardiff, London, not really going to be experiencing it. Belfast, Dublin, chilly, but not as chilly, I would say, as Scotland there. But going into the next day, we can see then rain forecast. Rain still dropping around Thursday morning there. It's not really going anywhere. It's stagnating around that area. It's going to be a very chilly Thursday morning. 6 degrees Thursday morning in Edinburgh there. The temperature's still very warm. 15 degrees, 14. No change in really real temperature. Too much around temperature in London for tomorrow as well there. But the temperature remains very cold up north there. Moving into Thursday evening there, you can see temperatures dropping even further up in up the north in Scotland there. We can see 6 degrees, even 5 degrees in some parts there. Overnight, Thursday night to Friday, going to be very cold if you don't have your heating on. There, 4 degrees there. Let's have a look and just see just how cold. Well, look, this is some of the temperatures you're going to be experiencing Thursday night into Friday morning, just for reference, my friends. So yeah, pretty cold. If you're not already expecting that, to be fair, there. But as far as other parts of the UK, again, like London 13, like again, just doesn't add up for me. You know, those temperatures there. It says dry, but I'm not 100% convinced on that. But moving into, it says dry in most parts there, but overnight into Friday morning there. Down in the south of England and Wales, they're going to be experiencing huge amounts of rain. Forecast looks like going to be all day rain. Yeah, that rain's going to be there all day from pretty much from morning to shutting. There, we're going to be getting it, and perhaps maybe even a tiny fraction of snow possibly there. But I don't know how true that realistic that is. But again, temperatures. Manchester drops. Dublin is dropping. Belfast dropping. Edinburgh staying around about the same. Scotland there. Cardiff and 9 degrees and 12 there. But moving into Saturday, again that Friday is going to be, it's going to be pretty much rain all day down in the south, pretty much where I live. And moving it into Saturday, there we can see overnight here into Saturday morning, overnight parts of it rains. Looks like most of the rain's going to clear up, and we're going to have a pretty dry Saturday. Looks like we're going to have quite a dry Saturday. Be chilly, but a dry Saturday here looks like coming up, which is always nice. It's nice not to have rain on a Saturday. And that looks like what we're going to have here, guys. As for we move into Sunday, or what we're expecting here, looks like we might get some rain in the north of Scotland here, Sunday morning here. No, looks like it's going to be okay as well. So it looks like the weekend, there's going to be some there's going to be some snow in parts of Scotland going to be expected Sunday evening. There, especially with the temperatures dropping, but it looks like there, from the looks of it, yeah, temperatures are finally going to dip down north, down the bottom there. But again, it's going to get colder. Looks like it's finally going to get colder there. Yeah, some very chilly degrees there. Yeah, so Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night is when I'm finally where I am. I'm actually going to experience some chilly temperatures there. Yeah, got some shades of snow coming in. That's going to be very interesting. Let's just have a quick look at the rest of for Monday. There. Yep, some chilly parts there, that's for sure there. So those are some of the weather forecasts. We'll keep an eye on it. So it looks like we've got some real cold coming into the weekend, guys. So just keep your eyes out on for that there. Let me just have a quick look in the chat. Good morning, Dave McGinnis. Hope you are doing well. I'm staying in with all that rain, says Ellie. Yeah, it's going to be non-stop rain in certain parts here. When hasn't Russia been cold as a nation and it is hot? I wouldn't say that about I wouldn't say so much the people. I would just say those who. I wouldn't say so much the people. I would just say those who run Russia more than anything. I think is the best way to say it. So let's start with the Associated Press here in terms of news, guys. It's not over yet. The shutdown has not officially ended in America, but it's very close to it, guys. As I said, we will touch on a bit of UK news in a bit. A historic shutdown is nearly over. It leaves no winners and much frustration. Yeah, like I said last night's live stream. Like I said on Monday about this. This is no one has won. No one's won anything. Americans have just suffered for literally no reason. Their jobs that they've lost. They have worked without pay. Many of them have suffered. All that has been for absolutely nothing because of Democratic senators who see what's happening with the government shutdown as, especially senators who, the majority of senators, pretty much all the ones who are basically turning their heads and going along with the Republicans to open the government. The only reason they're doing this because they can get away with it. And what I mean is that many of them are retiring. So they will not face any accountability for reopening the government. And I said last night, and I said it here, like having the government shut down is not good for Americans, as I'm sure we all understand. However, not being able to get the guarantee of the Affordable Care Act renewed is also a death sentence for many Americans out there as well. So that is unfortunately the situation here. And yeah, there's a great deal of anger and frustration from many people on the centre and centre left here. So yeah, the government shutdown in history, the longest government shutdown in history, could conclude as soon as today, with almost no one happy with the final result. Yeah, so it's possible that by the end of today, guys, it could be over. But I will say, in terms of people who have suffered, people who have worked on air traffic controls, people who have who get paid by the government and whatnot, it will be a good day for them to finally get their money. It's going to take time for them to get it, but in that perspective, it's good for them. But yeah, Democrats didn't get the health insurance provisions they demanded, adding to the spending deal, and Republicans, who control the levers of powers in Washington, didn't escape blame. According to polls, in some states and local elections went poorly for them. Yeah, the main of the blame was supposed to be on them, but make no mistakes, the Democrats are taking more heat on this as a result of them caving in. The fallout of the shutdown landed on millions of Americans, including federal workers who went without paychecks, and airline passengers who had their trips delayed or cancelled. Interruption in nutrition assistance programs contributed to long lines at food banks and added emotional distress going into the holiday season. The agreement includes bipartisan bills worked out by the Senate Appropriations Committee to fund parts of the government, food aid, veteran programs, and the legislative branch, among other things. All other funding will be extended until the end of January, giving lawmakers more than 2 months to finish additional spending bills. And I'm not going to read the whole part of what led to the shutdown because I've kind of gone through it all already yesterday on the live stream. So if you want to know a bit more there, you can go let me know your thoughts there. No thanks, AC. Yeah, federal shutdown creates uncertainty for marine cancer patients struggling to stay warm. Speaker Johnson faces an unruly House as lawmakers set to return for shutdown vote. Does this mean that we get the Epstein files, guys? I don't think I think Johnson's going to find a way to avoid that. Donald Trump's planning to give every American 2,000 tariff dividend. Because that'll definitely get people on his side. Look, it's gonna say paid for by Donald Trump. It's basically gonna be money put into people's handed out. It's gonna have a letter and whatnot saying from your president and whatnot, Donald J. Trump, all that kind of stuff. Even though it's literally not Donald Trump's money, it's actually the state's money. White House's 50-year mortgage proposal has one notable benefit, but a number of drawbacks. I read into this on Breaking Points. They did a breakdown video. They really broke down just how bad a 30-year mortgage would be. What this essentially means is that basically they will pay their mortgages longer instead of a 30-year mortgage, but they will end up paying. I wish I had the graph that they had on that show, because the interest rate would be much higher. So they'd be, instead for 30-year one is a lower interest rate, but they'll be paying at least 7% interest rate from the looks of it for 5 years in certain households in America. And instead of paying off like half a million pounds for your home in America, doing it over a 15-year mortgage rate, it would be over $1 million for the average home. Not wealthy home, for the average home. $1 million that you would be paying off over 50 years as an American. And the banks would make so much money off the top of it. So yeah, that's essentially what it's going to be. That's essentially what that 50-year mortgage proposal is. So global shares advance after the Dow hits a fresh record. Israel's longest war is leaving traumatized soldiers, with suicides also on the rise. I've spoken about this before in other live streams. Like, Israeli soldiers there's a lot of Israeli soldiers who are suffering psychologically and mentally, and are sadly taking their own lives for going through the trauma of what they've gone through. Like, the things that they have done inside Gaza has been nothing short of horrifying. And I don't have much sympathy for IDF soldiers, because they've been ordered to do things that are inhumane and disgusting, and yet they still did it knowing that what they're doing was immoral and wrong. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for IDF soldiers. I don't. I do respect the fact they are human beings, but what they've done to Palestinians since October the 7th, the retaliation, has been nothing short of horror, of disgusting. Turkish military plane crashes in Georgia, kills all 20 on board. That's absolutely terrible. How on earth did that happen? JFK's grandson, Jack Zuckerberg, announced bid for US House seat in New York. I see some of these stories on the right-hand side. It says here, Taiwan evacuates 8,300 and shuts school before tropical storm brushes the island. I generally pray that nobody dies as a result of that storm. We pray for the people of Taiwan. I really do mean that. Several solar storms could hit Earth and trigger aurora, space forecasters say. That's, I mean, it might look beautiful, but, yeah. So, several space weather forecasts issue an alert on Tuesday for incoming severe solar storms that could provide colourful northern lights and temporarily disrupt communications. In the past few days, the sun has burped out several bursts of energy called coronal mass ejections that could reach Earth's Tuesday night and early Wednesday. The potential severe geomagnetic storms could disrupt radio and GPS communications, according to forecasters and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. How bright the auroras are and how far south they are visible will depend on the solar bursts and how they are interacting with Earth's atmosphere. The vibrant displays could be visible across northern US as far as Alabama and northern Carolina. I don't know if anyone's seen any of them in the UK. I don't know if my friends in Scotland have seen that last night at all. Do let me know if you have. It'll be quite very beautiful to see. If I've never seen the Northern Lights for real. I would love to see it one day for real. Yes, I know I went to Iceland, but that was in January, where they had daylight 24/7. What else they got? Solution goes on auction for CIA HQ crypto sculpture. Okay, that's an odd one. What else they got here? Not really interested in that kind of stuff. Newsom tells the Associated Press the 8 senators who struck the shutdown deal aren't alarmed enough about Trump. No, that's true, but they don't care. Speaker Johnson, yep, Supreme Court. Supreme Court keeps the block on SNAP payments as shutdown potentially nears an end. Yep, because they don't want to feed the nation. They want the nation to starve and die. Oh, you want to rely off the state? No, you have to die. That's essentially the message from the US government there. Absolutely disgusting. Why would you do that to people, guys? Honestly, why would you do that? We get to see the Northern Lights in Kaimaru on clear nights at certain times of the year, says Wales. That's lovely. I'm glad you get to see them. Honestly, I think anyone who gets to see them is a pretty incredible thing. And maybe one day me and my partner will do like a trip to Norway, for example, and parts there, because I'm sure you could see the Northern Lights from there at a certain time of the year as well. Rather than going back to Iceland to see them. Because we done Iceland, that's the thing. So I don't have any plans to go back to Iceland. Let's back to this is from Al Jazeera here, guys. Modi again alleges conspiracy as India-Pakistan probe blasts in capital. What's this story about, guys? Pakistan has blamed Indian proxies for being behind the attack in Islamabad that killed at least 12 people. A car explosion in New Delhi on Monday killed 13 people. Oh. Pakistan urged to re-examination counter-terrorism strategy after Islamabad blast. In the latest additional Pakistani newspaper warned that the attack in Islamabad signals a major security lapse. It noted that while violence had long been a problem in the Bloodless, I can't say that word, guys, and the provinces there, terrorists struck what is supposed to be one of the most secure cities in this country. The Islamabad bombing brings powerful memories of the last wave of militant violence that took a heavy toll on both security personnel and civilians before the monster of terrorism was neutralised, it said. The state's primary duty right now is to shore up the home front, re-examine its counter-terrorism strategy in the wake of resurgence military there. Families bury victim demand answers. Several people detained in Indian administrated Kashmir. Indian security agencies have detected several people in Indian administrated Kashmir as part of an investigation into Monday's deadly car explosion. The Associated Press reports police said at least 5 people were taken in for questioning during overnight raids in southern Kashmir district. The tensions came hours after police in India administrated Kashmir said that they had dismantled a suspected cell believed to be operating between the region and the outskirts of New Delhi. Another 7 people, including 2 doctors, were arrested, and weapons with bomb-making materials were seized in Faridabad, a city in Haryana state, which borders the national capital's territory, police said. Delhi police spokesperson said investigators were probing all possible angles, including a terror attack, an accidental blast, or any kind of failure in the car. Modi finishes blast victims, promised justice for those behind the attack. Chances of de-escalation between Pakistan and Afghanistan din? Yeah, I would say so. Afghan officials warned traders against relying on Pakistan. Indian opposition MP questioned government preparedness after Delhi blast. Yeah, they would say that. It's an opportunity for the opposition to pounce on that. Turkey officials to visit Pakistan for talks on peace with Afghanistan there as well. Police dismissed claims Delhi car blast was parked at Al-Fashish University for 10 days. Interesting. Ukraine suspends justice minister for alleged links to $100 million corruption case. Justice Minister German Gastilia allegedly took part in the scheme involving state nuclear power firm Eradram. Remember, never forget, Ukraine is still stench with corruption, yeah? For all that's going on right now in the country with the conflict, with the war that is on, there is still corruption within the political system of Ukraine. I know they're trying to clear it out, but there is still corruption. Ukraine suspended Justice Minister for his alleged involvement in the corruption scandal involving the state-run nuclear power company during his tenure as the country's energy minister. Prime Minister announced on Wednesday that Gattuso had been suspended from his duty to be carried out by the Deputy Justice Minister, who served as Energy Minister for 4 years before taking over the Justice portfolio in July. He's accused of profiting from a scheme that laundered money from them. News outlet reported that anti-corruption authorities raided his office on Monday. He's going, I would defend myself in court. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong. Well, I guess we'll see. Myanmar, what's happening in Myanmar? Oh, this is a big long piece. I can't read that, guys. It'll take too long. Cymru. Yeah, thank you, Wales. I'm not good on the language front. Apologies for mispronunciation. Norway is stunning. Norway's stunning if you get the opportunity. See it with your own people as a sight to behold. Yeah, I do. Norway's definitely a country I want to visit. I definitely want to visit. My parents have visited Stockholm, and they've even been to Estonia last year. I definitely want to go. If me and my partner do decide to go to Norway, I want to. It'll probably be. I don't know when it will be, but it's definitely somewhere I definitely fancy going. You know, that I like to go to unique countries. Like everyone goes to the same countries. No, I like to go somewhere different. You know. But right now, we're just trying to build up some finances. Turkey confirms all 20 soldiers die in army plane crash in Georgia. Yeah, we looked at that a bit earlier. Russia loses legal battle to build embassy near Australia's parliament. Australia's High Court said government acted within its rights when it passed a law reckoning 99-year lease for a planned Russian embassy site. Russia has lost a legal fight to build a new embassy near Australia's parliament, with the nation's top court ruling there that Kabylia acted within its right when it cancelled the lease for the site. Australia passed legislation in 2023 to mothball the planned embassy building after officials deemed it posed a security threat. Said at the time that his government decided to revoke the lease of specific risk proposed by a site located about 300 yards from the Parliament's house. Russia which blast the move as Russia-phobic hysteria challenged the legislation court, arguing it was not valid under the Australian constitution. In an unanimous ruling on radio, the High Court found the cancellation of the lease had been a valid exercise of the legislative power to enact laws related to the acquisition of property. The court, however, ruled that Russia was entitled to compensation after paying about $2 million for the 99 lease in 2008. Yeah. So the Australian government owes Russia money. The court previously rejected a bid by Moscow to stop its officials from being evicted from the site. The government introduced new legislation on the 15th to end the Russian lease on the land after intelligence agencies warned the location was a risk to national security. This is kind of similar to the whole situation around the Chinese embassy that we have maybe getting the go-ahead, maybe not here in London, which would be not too far away from our places of power as well. Yeah, I say the same thing with the Chinese, with China to here to Russia here in Australia here. Like, what's wrong with the embassy you got? Like, is it falling apart? Is it crumbling? Is that the reason why you need a new embassy? And why does it have to be so close to the Parliament? You know. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand the concerns. Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about Russia, for crying out loud. Just a reminder, guys, I'll be going live later on today at 8 o'clock for Reganelite's Watch Along, one of my favourite live streams of the week. We'll be looking at clips and whatnot online, and we're giving our reactions to them. So do join me for that as well. Also, a reminder, tomorrow, the round table, myself, Dave McGuinness, Daily Blage, and Graham Price, Power to the People, will be joining us tomorrow. Yes, Graham Price, as a late substitute, has come in as well. So I'm very excited for that. Also, next month's round table, at the moment it's confirmed, but obviously things can change. Next month's round table for December, myself, Jenny, Random Scottish History, and Witchigoff will be coming together for the round table. I'm very excited to have that. Still have one more guest to bring on to that for that one in December. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, links. If you want to know the date for December one will be on the 11th, Thursday the 11th of December. That'll be the round table for that for next month, guys. Let's have a look at NBC News. Just a reminder as well, guys, if you want to help contribute to the channel, if you can leave super chats, I'll greatly appreciate it, and do consider becoming a YouTube member as well. And if you can't financially support, just hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, leaving comments, all that stuff helps as well. Democrats cling to silver lining to admit criticism they caved to Trump. They did cave to Trump. Like, there's no, you cannot get out of this. We've said this before and we said this again. You just cannot get out of this. You're not fooling anyone. You really are not. This NBC News. The AI-powered flying bomb aimed at beating back Russia's legion of cheap drones. A European startup is working to harness AI to counter the onslaught of Russian drone attacks in Ukraine. Shall we have a look? Can we have a look at this?
Sometimes it takes a drone to stop a drone. That's the idea behind Blaze, an interceptor drone powered by AI, trained to recognize and track enemy targets before a human operator gives it the order to take them down by self-destructing. We traveled to a military testing range in Latvia to see it for ourselves.
We don't fly these systems fly themselves.
Agris Kipurs is the co-founder of Origin, the Latvian startup behind the Blaze system. His last company made drones for extreme sports, but he pivoted to defense after the start of the war in Ukraine. Now he's leading a small tech firm racing to solve a continental-sized problem. How can Europe defend itself from swarms of Russian drones?
We definitely move fast. We understand the urgency. We understand the importance of delivering now.
Since its invasion of Ukraine, Russia has become a drone production powerhouse, able to make hundreds every day to pound Ukrainian cities. Blaze drones are already being battle-tested in Ukraine, the company says. But efforts by NATO nations to stockpile interceptors are still at an early stage.
You get the sense this is very much still a cottage industry, individual drones being assembled by hands. The question is, though, can this be scaled up to a level where it can compete with the Russians?
In recent weeks, mysterious drones have been spotted all across Europe, forcing civilian airports to halt flights in Germany, Norway, and Denmark. And last week, sightings over a military base in Belgium. The Kremlin did involvement, but European leaders say they suspect Russia is responsible.
Yeah. Interesting, guys. Very interesting in these. These seekers are less than $2,000, beating the 100,000 Shahed drones. Yes, the Shahed type attack drones that Russia acquires from Iran, correct? I believe. That's for sure. It'll be definitely it's fascinating to look at that. That is fascinating. What else we got? Northern Lights. We spoke about that earlier. UK minister denies plotting to oust embattled leader Keir Starmer. Okay, sure. sure they're not plotting, guys. Former Republican Elaine Laura launches bid for old seat in Virginia. Jack Skolberg, member of Kennedy's political dynasty, is running for Congress. US stock markets lags behind dozens of countries, even in a year of record highs. Did you guys actually know that when the dollar does bad, if the dollar does well, I actually benefit because my income from my wrestling page and my YouTube actually it comes in the forms of dollars. Ideally, I want the dollar to do well. Unfortunately, they've got a clown running the show in America though. So I actually suffer when the dollar does terrible, which doesn't help. Japan and China exchange pointed barbs in an escalating spat over Taiwan. Oh no, what's this about? Prime Minister Chinese said the Chinese attack on Taiwan could constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan, drawing sharp criticism from Beijing. It's not been the best relationship between the two, and mind you, though, I'm not kind of surprised it's not been the nicest of relationship, considering, there's been a history. There's been a history here. Japan was involved in a war of words with China this week over the Prime Minister said a Chinese attack on Taiwan could constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan, requiring the use of force. She was only elected last month, said on Friday that the Chinese use of force around Taiwan will qualify as an existential threat. Her comments drew sharp criticism from Beijing over the weekend. We have no choice but to cut off that dirty neck that has been lunged at us without hesitation. Are you ready? Chinese Consul General said in a message posted on X, which was later deleted. That sounds like a death threat to me. Sounds like a death threat to the Japanese Prime Minister. Also criticised past remarks made by the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and other Japanese lawmakers that Taiwan's emergency as Japan's emergency as a blatant interference of Chinese internal affairs and a violation of sovereignty that requires a retraction and apology. On Monday, Japan's chief cabinet secretary said Tokyo had protested to Beijing of issued X messages. While the international post is not entirely clear, we must say the commitment is extremely inappropriate. Japan's foreign ministry since long strong protests and demanded the post be be deleted. Kiriga urged China to provide an explanation. On Tuesday, Kiriga said the Japanese government's one-sided China policy had not changed, and that the peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait is essential not only to Japan's national security, but also for the international community. Bargain of words there between the two. You know what I've not heard a lot about is in the South China Sea, and I haven't heard a lot of raids taking place between China and the Philippines. And I don't know if it's because it's a regular occurrence, but it's been a while since I've heard a story there. I know there's still, every now and then there was always a story, but it's been quiet lately. It's been quiet. Rubbish news. Any other interesting news? Transportation Secretary warned of increased airport disruption and shutdown persists. Yep. I do think it's coming to an end now. Newsom blasts president for dumb US climate policy. Yep. The Trump administration had no involvement whatsoever in COP30. There was some people who went on behalf of America, but obviously the administration itself, no one from the administration came on behalf, because obviously we know how they feel about climate change, unfortunately. Let's have a look at Africa News and see what they're saying here. Gabon, Sylvia, and Noel sentenced to 20 years in jail for embezzlement there. What else have we got here? I'm just having a look at stories on the right-hand side here for reference. Text might be a bit small for you guys to see. Angola celebrates 50 years of independence. Protesters at COP30 climate talks demand a just for energy transition. Turkish defense firms showcase products at a fair in Mali. South Africa starts clinical trials for the first locally developed oral chlamydia vaccine. The United Nations calls for a probe into protest killings. 100 face treason charges. That's in Tanzania. Yeah, Tanzania's not. I've said I'm not keen on what's going on there at all, guys. Cristiano Ronaldo says 2026 World Cup is definitely his last. Yeah, at his age, I don't blame him. Ethiopia named as a host for 2027 UN Climate Summit. Ethiopia, that's an interesting one. Ethiopia edged Nigeria to emerge as the country's host for the 2027 Climate Summit. The East African country also hosted this year's African Climate Summit in September. Dubbed the African COP, the summit is expected to centre Africa's role in advancing climate justice solutions. African countries, which are disproportionately affected by climate change despite their negligible contributions to greenhouse gas emissions, have long demanded that developed countries pay more for adaptation and mitigation. This year's summit, COP30, opened on Monday in Belém, Brazil, with a call to world leaders and delegates to confront rising global temperatures and push for urgent, coordinated climate action. The conference also focused on enhanced emissions reduction and climate resilience while promoting an inclusive and equality transition. The host for next year's talks is yet to be decided as Australia and Turkey continue to vie for the chance. Interesting. Well, very happy for Ethiopia. Generally do. Egypt's foreign minister engages with Sudan's military leader in Port Sudan. Democracy query millions Trump paid to Equatorial Guinea to accept deportees. Basically, they've taken Guinea. They are saying they've taken them deportees because they were paid by the Trump administration. Well, shall we say U.S. tax dollars? Shall we say? Yeah, that's the next. That's going to be Ethiopia's one is going to be in 2027. That is 2027. Sorry, that COP summit. But they're going to have one next year as well. But they haven't decided where it's going to be yet. There. Hasn't it only just finished in Brazil? I believe so. Yes, I believe so. Not bits of stories, but not too much there from them there. Let's have a look and see what the Kiev Independent is saying for us today here, guys. Obviously, the main story, we kind of saw a bit of it already. Ukrainian minister implemented a nuclear power corruption scandal, suspended. What else they got here? Ukraine, let me just refresh it here just in case. Ukraine Special Forces confirmed successful fire attack on Russia's Stavrovo petrochemical plant. Special Operation Forces confirmed its successful fire attack. That was overnight last night, that was. Under heavy fog, Russia presses into Prospect. Ukraine says 300 troops entered the city. Yeah, we talked about that last night on the live stream. Romania moves to take control of Liquidol assets ahead of US sanctions deadline. Romania must take control of the local subsidies of Russia's Liquidol to protect its national energy system and enforce international sanctions, its energy minister said today as well. Once again, that's putting the squeeze on the Russian economy. Situation is quite difficult. Russia catches 3 settlements in Zaporizhzhia on blast amid the intense fighting. Ukraine's commander-in-chief confirmed that Russian troops have managed to siege 3 settlements amid fierce fighting in the region. That's not good. 4-year anniversary. Kiev independent. Good for them. I generally mean that. They've provided quite a lot of fascinating information. A lot of their information they get from Telegram communications as well. Telegram communications from those on the ground as well. It's where Kiev gets most of their information. EU ministers to meet in Lviv to discuss Ukraine's integration process, sources say. Explosions and fire recorded. Austria's oil refinery to hit Ukrainian state. General Staff said that was yesterday. Ukraine Security Council chief heads to Turkey to unblock POW exchanges as well. Yeah, they've come. And they still they're not giving us the numbers of Russian soldiers dying anymore as well. And I think it may be because it's a bit too conflated, to be fair. Let's have a look at some UK news. I know some people want me to have a look at some new UK news, so we'll have a look at the Guardian at least. And if we get a chance, we'll come and have a look at 1 or 2 other world stories here. So what they got here at the front of the Guardian. West Streeting denies plot to oust Starmer and condemns briefings from Number 10. The Health Secretary said attacks on him from Downing Street self-defeating after a report PM's jobs could be under threat. Make no mistake about it, this guy wants the job. He's saying all the right things publicly, but privately he wants that job. And we know that he will only push towards more towards the NHS towards privatisation, if not enough of it already. An exclusive from the Guardian here. Hold on. No, not that one. This one. Starmer's allies issues warnings to PM. Rivals as fear Grover's leadership challenge. Number 10 said to be in full bunker mode over fears to attempt to oust him after budget or May local elections. Yeah. We always know that if Reeves goes, he will go. That's one thing that'll definitely happen. Yeah, if he doesn't go now, he'll go. If he doesn't go after the budget, he'll go in May's local elections. Only a few weeks away from the budget now. I agree with quite a lot of people at this point. Like, the clock is ticking on him. He's not going to make it to the next general election. Like, the policies have just not been working. Reeves rejects plea for $1 billion of extra cash to cover NHS redundancy payments. Lobbied behind the scenes for emergency funds to pay off 18,000 staff losing their jobs. Chancellor's decision is a setback for the Health Secretary, who's been lobbying behind the scenes in the Whitehall for extra money to pay off 18,000 personnel who are losing their jobs. Treasury has instead allowed the Department of Health and Social Care to overspend its allocated budget by about $1 billion this financial year, but this is on the understanding that they will have less money in 2026-27 and no new cash overall. Streeting has spent months trying to persuade the Treasury to grant additional funding to enable NHS 9042 integrated care bonds start slimming down. Their roles have been asked to make about half their 25,000 staff redundant, and they wonder why employment is going up. As Dan McGuinness pointed out numerous times on Max's live stream last night as well. The $1 billion is needed to let the boards finally shrink their workforce. A process has been due to finish by the end of December. It also covers payoffs to an unknown number of employees at NHS England, which is being abolished and merged with the DHAC in 2027. The process had ground to a halt amid disagreements over who should foot the bill for the redundancies. The job losses are part of a rational restructuring over the health service in England, in which Streeting had ruled out when Labour was in opposition. NHS bosses in England last month told ministers they need $3 billion more this year to cover the cost of redundancy. Strike by resident doctors, 5 days of industrial action start this Friday. Rises in drug prices, all three were unforeseen when the NHS budget for this year was set, they argued. Sources say the Treasury offered to make a deal with the DHSS in which it would provide extra money for redundancies if the department agreed to absorb the costs of higher drug prices. However, no agreement was reached, with no extra cost of medicine likely to prove significant. Yeah, I don't like that. They're going to be paying more. Reform Russia pulls out of BBC film amid a Trump speech row. Internal Party member said the trust has been lost as US president. What film were they? Reform Russia has pulled out of a BBC documentary about the party amid a row over the broadcasting editing in a Donald Trump speech. Oh, for feck's sake. Go suck a lemon, Reform. Seriously. BBC. I'm sure I'm going to be talking about it tonight anyway, so it's no point me talking too much about it when I'm already going to be talking about it tonight. 7 men in Bristol, child sexual exploitation investigation there. FTSE 100 index has a 10,000 point mark in sight after hitting new high. Excuse me. Judges set to decide fate of police chief constable guilty of contempt of court. Tussles break out between protesters and security at COP30 in Brazil. Doesn't storm a venue at climate conference has encouraged NGOs and indigenous groups to play unprecedented role in talks. Jeez. That's damn. That's not good. Seen no scuffles. That's really not good. What else they've got here? Just out of curiosity. PMQs. I don't. Max is undecided whether he's going to cover it or not. I'm not going to cover Prime Minister's questions, guys. If you want to watch Prime Minister's questions, you can see it from Graham Hughes' perspective, or you can watch it on BBC Parliament's YouTube channel. There. Donald Trump says he has obligation to sue BBC over speech edit. No, you do not. BBC should not bow down. I do not want my taxpayer money paying towards Donald Trump. Private care providers in 3 English regions make £250 million in 3 years. Private. More than a third of profits analysed went to firms owned by private equity firms based in tax havens, as research finds. All schools in England to be given AI-generated pupil attendance targets. Unions decry a move, saying it will put more pressure on head teachers without tackling the absences from classrooms. Yes, you keep dodging around the main issue, and that is the cost of living crisis, the inequality. You keep dodging around the main crux of the reasons why things like this are happening. It's really frustrating. Like, Les, we want to get more kids back into school. Yes, absolutely. Of course we do. But you need to help. You need to be looking at why they're in. The question should be asking of why, not how can we get them back in the classroom. The question you should be asking is why are they doing this, and what are we doing to help make sure that they come back into the classroom and stay back in the classroom. Got about 8 minutes left, guys. If anyone wants to contribute to the Super Chat Gold today, it'd be greatly appreciated. The NHS is already just a brand in England, and now Westminster seeks to roll out the mentality over the rest of us in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Another knock-on effect on Brexit, yeah. House set to vote on ending government shutdown. This is ABC News just for reference here. Yeah, don't need that, thank you. 850 flights have been cancelled in early Wednesday, Tracker says, in the US. That's a lot. John F. Kennedy's grandson. Government funding deal will reverse some of Trump's mass federal workers' firings. Mega Millions jackpot on the verge of hitting 1 billion. Like, why would you do a jackpot of 1 billion? Nobody needs a billion. Like, it's just insane. Absolutely insane. No one needs that. Train driver appears to fall asleep. Screaming passengers are joyted. Oh my God. I'm not going to look at that. There's a couple of stories there from the Associated Press. I'm just going to open up. Which ones have I not opened up? I haven't opened you up. We haven't looked at you. So we'll have a look at you in a second. And I'm going to open up. I'll open up them as well. See what they have to say as well. Let's have a look at Euronews, see what Euronews is saying here. European Union to relocate asylum seekers from Spain, Italy, Greece and Cyprus. They're under minority pressure by the European Commission, which paves the way to the relocation of asylum seekers to other EU member states. Poland, Hungary and Slovakia refuse to contribute. Yeah, because they don't want to. They don't want to contribute. These countries face a disproportionate level of migrant arrivals last year, including those rescued at sea. Spain, Italy, Greece and Cyprus will therefore benefit in 2026 from the solidarity of other EU member states, which could be expressed by relocating asylum seekers over their territory or by financial contributions. Together with this assessment, the Commission proposed to the EU 27 member states the annual solidarity pool, a mechanism to determine the total number of asylum seekers to be relocated and the amount to each state should allocate or to compensate for by paying. The pool's proposal is not public, will be discussed by EU member states, which are set to decide the size and solidarity share for each country by the end of the year. Each member state, except the ones under minority pressure, has to contribute in proportion to its population and the total GDP. And it could choose among 3 options to meet and need the outlay in the solidarity pool. Relocating a certain number of asylum seekers in their own territory, pay €20,000 per person they do not relocate, or finance operational support in member states under minority pressure. The final decision will be taken by EU countries by a qualified majority vote, with the minimum size of the solidarity pool set by law at 30,000 relocations and 600 million in financial contributions. The Commission report also identifies 12 states at risk of minority pressure: Belgium, Bulgaria, Germany, Estonia, Ireland, France, Croatia, Latvia, Lithuania, and the Netherlands, Poland, and Finland. These countries are required to provide solidarity to those under minority pressure, but their situation will be re-evaluated to avoid disproportionate obligations in the following year. A third group of countries being classified as facing significant minority situation: Bulgaria, Czechia, Estonia, Croatia, Austria, and Poland. They are still required to provide solidarity, but can ask for an exemption from their quotas, which must be certified by Commission and approved by other member states. The report and the solidarity pools are the basis for developing the system of mandatory solidarity envisioned on the Pact of Migration and Asylum, a major reform of migration policy adapted in 2024. Yeah, I like these countries. These 4 countries in particular are taking the brunt of it. Italy takes more of a brunt. Italy, Greece are the ones who take more of a brunt when it comes to migration more than anything. And it's right that they it's right that other nations help bear the burden for them. It really is right that they try and help bear the burden for them. Other EU nations need to step up. And the likes of Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. Look, I understand why they don't want to because of political. I understand from the political perspective. I understand that, but they've got to take their fair share. They've got to take their fair share. We should be taking our fair share as well, even though we're not even part of Europe. We should be taking our fair share. Just 1 second, guys. 1 billion before taxes. Yeah, 1 billion before tax. I know. Thank you, Alison Keir, with £2 super chat for Ollie. Another £2 super chat from Alison Keir. We can get confetti. Another £2 super chat for the DPR. Thank you so much. And then Peter M says, "Go on then," for a £2 super chat. And then another one from Alison Keir saying, "To the goal." Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alison Keir and Peter, for the super chats, helping reach today's goal. Really appreciate your support. Thank you. And Ollie says thank you as well. Much appreciated there. I think we're probably going to leave it there as well. Pingu also says thank you as well, just because I'm sure some people will want to watch Prime Minister's questions there. We'll just have a quick look at the headlines here. Won't look at any more news stories, just look at the headlines. Here, with the US nuclear weapons, how effective is Europe's nuclear deterrence? Germany close to reaching agreement on new military service law there. G7 foreign ministers meet in Canada for talks on trade and defence there as well. Romania finds drone fragments after Russian strikes in Ukrainian ports there. Some of the other thoughts there. Russian court extends jail time for teenage singer over anti-war song. That's absolutely terrible. Anti-war song. Space is no longer peaceful, Macron says in a new space strategy there as well. So that's some of the stories there from Euro News. I was going to look at maybe 1 or 2 other stories. However, I want to give people a chance to go over to Prime Minister's questions. So, guys, I am done for now. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along today. Thank you, Alison Keir and Peter, for your very generous super chats. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, guys, for your comments down below as well. I'll be back with another Good Morning show tomorrow at 11 a.m. if you want to join me for that. But I'm also live streaming tonight at 8 o'clock for Reganelite's watch along. We'll be looking at various different clips online using Twitter. So if you guys want to join me for that, it is one that I do find the most fascinating live stream. So if you could join me for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. I will be recording short videos for the next couple of days today as well at some point as well. So for YouTube members, they'll be coming up over the next several hours as well. So keep your eyes out for that if you're top tier YouTube members as well. So thank you all so much for watching. But on your way out, if you can, hit the like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already, check out Rumble and Patreon content, enjoy Prime Minister's questions, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.